Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, everyone. This is Laura Smith on Blog Talk Radio. It is 6 o'clock here in the morning. I have a little trouble getting into my switchboard. Thursday morning, October 13th. I'm glad to be here. This is One Child Abuse Survivor to Another. We're on for 30 minutes. It's a live internet streaming radio broadcast from blogtalkradio.com. And we'll be on for 30 minutes. And we're just looking at the inner child healing work. I did find some different stuff to look at. We finished up on Robert Burney's web pages last week, and I want to start another set of web pages that I found. It's really some more good information about inner child work. And so I'll give you the links to that. I'm just opening the chat room right now. And so, yeah, I'm running a little bit late. The clocks are a little different. Like, for some reason, I'm a couple minutes off from where I usually am. So it's, I'm always yesterday I was a couple minutes late to my show, too. So sorry about that. But, we'll get right into the show here. I'll just kind of bring up the page that we're looking at. We're looking at supportive sexual abuse recovery from www.soul expressions abuse recovery. So if you type into your browser Soul Expressions Abuse Recovery, that'll probably bring up the page. And there's some good information on here. She's a therapist, and she's been a therapist for many years, but she's also a survivor. And so, she's got some great info there for people. And I really was interested in the inner child healing work. So I'm not a professional counselor, I'm not a counselor. I'm just a private citizen paying to do my shows. And, I just wanted to be one more voice really speaking out against this stuff and talking about the issues surrounding child abuse. And so, you have to listen at your own discretion because I'm talking about abuse. And abuse is a very sensitive subject, right? A lot of people may find it makes them uncomfortable. So you have to know what's good for you to listen to. And you have to make the right choice for yourself. And young people under the age of 18, I just ask that you have permission to listen to my shows. Just have an adult or somebody listen to the show with you. That way they can help you make a decision whether or not you should be listening. So I'm having a little trouble bringing up this actual web page here. And hopefully it'll come up, but it's not coming up right now. Let me just try for a couple of different things here. And so, this is good info. Oh, here we go. I'm actually going to pop the link into the chat room, but like I said, it's www.soul-expressions-abuse-recovery.com. That's the website we're looking at. But I'm going to put it in the chat room. And she talks a lot about, she's really talking about sexual abuse here on this website, healing from sexual abuse. And so that's really what the focus is for this particular stuff that I'm looking at. But abuse is abuse, right? And I mean, there's healing stuff on here really for everybody who may have been abused. But there is a whole lot about especially child sexual abuse and whatnot. And like I was saying before, she's got all kinds of stuff here, and you can actually talk to her if she's online. She has like a little widget guide that says, if she's online or if she's offline, you can leave her a message. And her name's Becky, but I don't know a whole lot about her, but she's got some great information here. And we just barely started looking into this on Tuesday. And so where I sort of left off was that she was saying, that it took her 20 years to let go of her pain from the abuse that she suffered and to heal her inner child. And she says, you don't have to wait that long. She's just hoping that other people won't take 20 years to heal, or to let go of the pain or to heal, in some fashion, right? Took her 20 years. And that's the thing. I've been on my healing journey for 4.5 years. And so, like March, April next year will be 5 years. And so, I still have a ways to go for sure. But I am making progress, and that's good. And so she says you can choose to move from victim to survivor. And so this is where we're sort of looking at, she says you don't have to feel depressed, carry secrets, feel bad about yourself, have nightmares, stay in unhealthy relationships, and feel alone forever. She says one important note, this is not to take the place of professional therapy or treatment, and if you feel severely depressed, like harming yourself or someone else, seek professional help immediately, like on her site there. She's a therapist, but she knows, this stuff can trigger people. And that's why I always put a warning on my shows, that this type of abuse, any topics of abuse can trigger survivors. And it can bother people. So you have to be really sure about what you're listening to. and make the right decision for yourself, because it is ultimately your choice. And so you need to know what's good for you to listen to. And if you're a survivor and you haven't come that far through your healing journey, you really have to be diligent, about what you're doing, so that you don't trigger and end up, going backwards in your healing journey and whatnot, or hurting yourself or hurting somebody else, right? Be very, very careful. So she was talking, she says recovery is a decision. She says the decision that you want things to change in your life, and the thing about change is that it is never without discomfort, whether good or bad. And she says, I heard someone say once, the change is like turbulence you feel on a plane. It doesn't matter if you're moving into the storm or moving out of the storm into the sunlight. It's a bumpy ride sometimes, but worth it if you are tired of feeling the way you do right now. So she says, this is where we left off. Do you feel it is time to make a change? Are you ready to let go of your pain that is familiar to try something new? And I sort of really went into that last Tuesday, just talking about that, like, that my pain is really my personality. And that's just from growing up, from the time I was born, really taking my first breath, 0 to 18 years, because I could have really left the home at the age of 18. But the abuse, just went on and on and on. It's not like I had a great life for about 2 or 3 or 4 years, and then it was just horrible for 6 months, and then it was great again. Like, it was never great. It was never good, and it was never going to ever be good. My family was just so dysfunctional and so destroyed already by the time I came along. And so, I sort of grew up and was formed, really created into this person that I am today. And so that's why, if I was talking about that, like on Tuesday, I said if I let go of this stuff, and I could pretend to be somebody else, but pretending isn't going to get me anywhere. I just am who I am, and I have to accept that. And parts of me, there's things about myself I'd like to change, but there's other stuff that I know will be there forever, and that's just because that's who I am. You can't just completely, like, a person can't. I guess some people do. They just completely change who they are. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how they do it, through denial or whatever. I could just pretend to be somebody else, and change and turn into metamorphosize into something that I'm really truly not. And that's no good, because that's a false image. Like, I'm just myself, you know what I mean? And I got to be okay with that when I wake up in the morning, and I got to be okay with that when I go to bed at night, and I got to be okay with that during the day. And I think, but there's certain things that I can work on, and that's the whole issue. And I think everybody can. We all have stuff that we can work on, so that we can, overcome some behavioral issues, or just change the way that we feel about things. I knew I could never change my past, and that was something I knew. And I didn't want to be in denial. I didn't want to create some sort of false past for myself, Because truth is truth, and really truth means everything to me. I mean, otherwise, child abuse and the issues of truth, man, truth is completely necessary when you're talking about child abuse, because child abuse is always hidden away. It's always, distorted. The truth is quite often distorted, especially by the abusers. It's like, oh, I didn't hurt you. Right, okay. That's why you took the frying pan to my head. Oh, it didn't hurt, These types of things, right? Like beating children beating children up, and then the abusers will say, well, I was just disciplined. You deserved it. That's how I grew up. And, as far as child sexual abuse, it's like, well, the child wanted it. You hear these abusers, these losers, abusers, saying stuff like, especially on the news and the news reports that come up about people who are busted and arrested and convicted of child sexual abuse. Quite often, they say stuff like, he or she asked for it, they wanted it. It's like, okay, right, like a child really knows, like at that age, what they even want. You know what I mean? Like, it was being forced on them, and it was on me. I'm a victim of child sexual abuse. So, this is the issue. People, lies, and just mistruths, and, all that good stuff, shoving everything under the carpet. Let's pretend it didn't happen. Let's pretend it's not that bad, right? Minimization, minimizing abuse. Lots of people like to do that. Oh, it wasn't that bad, or, even survivors will do that, just to try to keep some sort of good thoughts about the whole situation, or good thoughts, because generally it's a family member. It's almost always a family member who abuses children. Not every time. There's also the stranger danger, and sometimes it's somebody close to the child, a coach or a mentor or someone in the church or some neighbor. Somebody got a hold of the kid. But the facts are what they are, and it leans more heavily the percentage towards parents and caregivers who actually end up sexually using children, or someone in the family, like a sibling or whatnot. And so, and you hear these people, minimizing this because they may still have a relationship with their abuser. Like my brother is the one who sexually abused me, and he killed himself when he was 33. I was 21. I was just turning 21, and he killed himself. So I didn't have a relationship with him as an adult. When I was a child and I was 8 years old, he raped and sodomized me and sexually used me. But after that, he moved to Canada, and I didn't see much of him, which is a good thing because I saw him a couple times when he came to visit. I didn't really like being in the house with him, by myself especially. And I was afraid of him. Of course, right? 8 years old, being violently assaulted by somebody. So I didn't really want to be around him, and he was crazy. He was always trying to kill himself. So, I didn't trust his judgment. I didn't trust him, period, because he had sexually abused me. And so when he came to visit, it wasn't a good thing. I wasn't happy about it. My mom was happy about it. That was her son, right? But, he came a couple times for a visit, but I only saw him about 2 times between the ages of 8 and 21. So for 13 years, he had moved away to Canada, and then I saw him twice in that time for very short visits. Right when I was about, the first time was about 12, and then he came again when I was about 14, and that was it. Then I didn't see him again. So from 14 to 2021, so six and a half years I didn't see him, and I was happy. This is the guy who hurt me. This is the brother that raped me and hurt me, and sexually abused me. Like that's, But when he killed himself, I wasn't necessarily happy about it. And actually, today is the anniversary for his suicide, October the 13th. And it's today or tomorrow. My two of my brothers died on near the same day, 13th and 14th. One of my brothers was killed and murdered, and I think that he was killed and murdered on the 14th of October. No, the 13th. And my brother committed suicide on the 14th, so that's tomorrow. So this is kind of a bad couple of days for me. But life goes on. So, this is the thing. Do you feel it's time to make a change? Are you ready to let go of your pain that is familiar to try something new? This is where we left off on Tuesday. And this is something that I question myself all the time, because I'm like, am I always going to feel this way? Am I always going to be in pain? And this was my question, really what really started my healing journey was this question. This very question was that, do I always have to be in this pain? Am I always going to be in this pain? And that was 4.5 years ago. I was sitting on the couch, and I was just ready to self-injure, and I really wanted to gouge myself and rip myself to shreds, and I was going to do it. I had a really rusty, disgusting screwdriver in my hand, and I was going to rip my arms up to shreds, And I thought, well, that's kind of stupid. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just plan my suicide again, and I'll just kill myself, and I'll be out of this pain. And that was 4.5 years ago. And I was sitting on the couch, and I put the screwdriver down, and I started listening to this little voice that was talking to me. And it was sort of my conscience saying, why would you do this? Because, if you do this, you know that nobody's going to care. I was talking to myself, right? And I was like, yeah, that's right. Nobody's going to care if I kill myself or self-injure. If I self-injure, people are going to be like, they won't understand, right? And if I kill myself, nobody will really care, because nobody will really know what happened to me. Nobody will know what happened to my family. And I thought, my family won't care. They didn't really care that my 2 of my brothers killed themselves in the first place, so they aren't going to care if I kill myself. And they were always lumping me in with my brothers anyway, my loser brothers who killed themselves. I'm sort of lumped in with them as being a loser, right? Because I'm in a family of black sheep. I'm actually the blackest black sheep. Like I'm the one that's the worst right now, because the other 2 of my siblings that are still living are in denial, and they don't have a clear thought in their head about what truth is and what truth isn't. Because they don't want to have to face this stuff, right? Because they want to keep a relationship with our abuser dad. So in order to do that, they have to kind of, pretend that none of this happened, because my dad's still living and they still have a relationship with him. So, truth is truth. And I told my dad that just this last fall when he was here visiting me. I told him, I said, hey, I'm not doing denial with all you guys. I'm doing truth. And I can't do denial with you guys. Like you guys are all in denial, you and my sister and my brother. And I said, you guys want to just pretend that none of that happened. Well, that's your business. I did that for 20 years, and it almost killed me, because that's why I wanted to kill myself at the age of 41. I'm sitting around going to kill myself because I was living a double life. this weird double life of, oh, everything's fine, go to work, no problem, go to school, no problem, get up and go and do the thing every day, stay alive, and at the end of the day, wanting to kill myself. And I thought, what, this is insane, really. I need help, and I'm going to get help. And my sister and my brother, if they don't want to get help and they want to be in denial, they have to be in denial for whatever reason. They grew up in the same home I did. Then that's their choice. This is my choice to heal. It's my choice to make these decisions, to help myself and to get help when I need it. And this is my choice, and I'm going to come out so much better for it. So I told my dad, I said, I can't do denial with you guys. It's not that I don't love you. I told him, I said, I love all of you. I can't do this anymore with you. So you all just go on and have a nice life. I'm doing my thing because they're just as toxic and abusive as they ever were. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Right. So I don't allow them into my life, really. So I thought, 4.5 years ago, I thought nobody's going to care if I kill myself, right? And I thought, my brothers let my parents win that fight by killing themselves. My two brothers, Rob and Howard, they didn't kill themselves at the same time. My brother killed himself when he was 33 back in 1985, and my other brother died of a drug overdose in 1992. So this is many years later. But the thing is two of my brothers killed themselves, and I thought, man, they let my parents win this fight. Like they totally let my parents kill them spiritually and in every other way because they didn't fight against it. They didn't try to get any help. They were both in and out of prison, and they could have got counseling. And well, prison's not the best place to get counseling, but my brother did get his high school degree there. But they could have got. They actually were offered help. They were offered help because they were suicidal and they had many chances to get help, but they couldn't do it, and that's really sad. And I thought, man, am I going to be like that? Am I just going to give in and just allow my parents to win this fight? No way. So I got mad and I got angry and I said, that's it. No, I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to come out of this and I'm feeling good and I'm going to have a good life, because I so deserve it. I did not deserve to be treated that way as a child, and so that's where I'm at. And that's exactly the question that got me there, was to start my healing journey, was am I ready to let go of the pain? Am I ready to try something different? Am I ready to heal? Am I ready to allow myself to heal? That was a big question for me, and that's really what started my healing journey, so I love that. So she says, I guess you have to be tired of the pain you feel from your abuse and willing to let it go. Something so simple yet something so hard, like having faith. She says, your pain can even be as bad as feeling suicidal. So she goes on to talk about this. I ask you, if you are feeling this way inside, what do you have to lose? Chances are you will feel better and wonder what took you so long, like I did. So that's, to feel better, right? And that's the whole issue. Like 4.5 years later, almost 5 years now, like I feel so much better today than I did before. That's just because I've allowed myself to reach out and get some help and to go through this healing journey. And lots of people will go get a counselor and therapist and, hey, we're all different. We all need different things. I actually chose the route of group support, online group support at first. And I really like that. And now I'm doing self-help with the help of some friends who are helping me through. So it's great. But some people, feel more comfortable in a one-on-one sort of counseling therapist type thing, and whatever works for you, I think, is the way to go, right? We're all different. And so she says, if you think you were sexually abused, but you are not sure, you very well might have been. She says, the only way to know for sure is to uncover the feelings that you have inside. And this does require also letting down your defenses. That is a scary thing. But if you were abused, you can be certain that it is affecting your life in one way or another. It comes through somehow, sideways even, usually unexpected. She says, I know that I tried to forget over the years, but whenever I would go to the doctor for an exam or was put in a position where I wasn't in control, I would feel panicky, nauseated, and overwhelming need to run. This is her talking. She says, Becky, she says, my body was still on alert to protect myself, even though I didn't totally understand why. And for some unknown reason at the time, I still felt like a scared child. She says, do you ever feel that way? She says, I will stay by your side. And it is also my hope that you will feel supported, even though it is not in person. There's nothing you can really take that can really take the place of human contact and support. She says, I do believe that you will find out when you begin to reach out for your own personal support network, the response will be surprising to you of how many other women there are out there recovering from sexual abuse. And I mean, we know men do as well, right? There's lots of boys who are abused sexually too, right? But she's mainly talking to women here. And she says, I discovered a sisterhood with women that I cherish to this day, and I wish for you the same thing. A life where you are surrounded by your sisters in recovery. Getting there can start right now. All you need to do is read what I have to say and begin your own recovery. And then she lists some numbers. There's like the suicide hotline, 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-TALK. That's what she's got there. I don't know if that number's still good or not. But and she's also here for support too. So on her website, if you go to soulexpressionsabuserecovery.com, she has a little whatever they call those little things. It's a little guide on there, little cartoon guide, and if it's green, and she's online, you can actually talk to her and send her a message. She'll get back to you. And if the little chat thing is offline right now, so she's not online, but she said she's usually online. So I think this is pretty cool. It's a great website, and there's lots and lots of information here, just tons of info. So that's what I really like about it. And so yeah, we'll just keep on going. So thanks Gypsy Witch for being here. I appreciate that. I've got a guest here, and it's very, very nice. Thanks for being here. So she talks a lot about what helped her to heal. Art therapy, spirituality, and healing your inner child. And that's why I came to this webpage, actually, these web pages, because I was interested in looking at the inner child healing work that she has here. But I mean, she's got so much stuff here. It's really amazing, to see the amount of stuff that she does have on her website on the left-hand side. If you go to her website, so like a Soul Expressions blog, sexual abuse signs, depression, eating disorders, PTSD, self-abusive behaviors. I mean, I already went through this last Tuesday, but victim to survivor. And there's sexual issues and stuff, but let's look at, there's abuse cycle and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's really a lot of stuff to go through. But I did want to look at the inner child healing work, as well as looking at abuse, anger, how to forgive, self-esteem, wounded healer and whatnot, maintaining recovery. That's kind of what I'm really interested in looking at here on these web pages. But I want to look at victim to survivor first really quickly, so we'll just go to that page. She says, from victim to survivor, a conscious choice. And that's so true, because when I was 4.5 years ago, when I started my healing journey, I was actually thinking of myself as a victim. Obviously, I was a victim. And but then when I started my healing journey, I started to think, no, I'm a survivor. Like, I'm a survivor. I'm not a victim. I mean, I was a victim, but now I'm a survivor. So I changed the way that I felt about that. And that's really was a big step. Because that actually empowered me. It's like, yeah, so true. I'm a survivor. And so I started to reach out to other survivors, and, survivors of abuse started to reach out to me. And before you know it, I had a huge network of people. I mean, really, I've got a huge network of people on Facebook and whatnot, and even Twitter. I mean, it's amazing how many people on Twitter actually follow my stuff and are there. They're there. Like, if I want to send them a message, I'm sure they'd be there for me. There's so many people out there who are really supportive. You just have to be careful. There are crazy, hurtful people out there too. And you do have to be careful who you get involved with. I'm very careful about that. And I don't just let everybody into my life, And even I'm talking about my personal life. I mean, I'm talking publicly about this stuff because I'm a public speaker, right? That's what I'm doing. But as far as just letting people get that close, I mean, you got to check people out, But the thing is that I'll give people the benefit of the doubt, just like I would like for them to do for me. And we'll just open up the door and let some people in, right? And it's good, right? It's good to make friends. It's good to have support. I don't have a whole lot of local support, but I have a lot of friends that live, around the world actually, and are here for me, So that's great. It's just good to have people in your life. Eventually I should have some local support. It's my main problem is I work contract jobs, temporary contract jobs, and they never last that long. Sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year. And even the relationships within these jobs, these people don't even associate on the outside. They don't do stuff outside of work. So work is not the best place to make friends. You know what I mean? Generally, it's just work friends, right? So, eventually I'll find a support network here, and that's all right. But for now, I'm okay doing what I'm doing because I need time to think, and I need time to, to process a lot of stuff, right? And so I don't have a lot of time for social stuff. And as far as, like, just running around the city, I ran around my whole life, you know what I mean? Like, I can do that another time. Right now, I'm more into figuring things out, and I'm quite a ways through my healing journey, even though I still have some work to do. And so I'm kind of more serious in that right now. But, network, it's important to have people to reach out to, absolutely. So she says this section is about moving from victim to survivor. It's an action step and a change in mentality. She says, yes, you are a victim of sexual abuse, but a victim stays in a victim role and never moves further and changes any behaviors that might change the outcome of the feelings that you are suffering from. She says you can't change what happened to you, but you can change how you will react to it and how you want your life to be from this day forward. That's very true. Yeah, we can't change what happened to us. There's no way. That's what I realized. I knew I couldn't change my past. I was like, what happened is what happened. There's no way to change that. Also, like I said, unless I want to create some sort of false childhood for myself, or create some sort of a pretend life, which I didn't want to do because I'm a realistic reality person, and I think truth is everything. Like I said, dealing with child abuse, truth is everything. So, we can't change what happened to us, but we can change how we react to it and how we want our life to be from this day forward. So I like that. She says, once you make the decision to recover, you have the power to change your life. And your abuser does not have to win. You can take back your power and move on and not stay stuck where you are. First of all, to do this, she says, it's important to understand the abuse cycle. And she says it clarifies how you stayed in your abuse and how you got to where you are now. So she has a little thing for the abuse cycle. And it says it's also important that you know how to deal with your overwhelming emotions that you might be experiencing when painting, like art therapy or any time. One of the most difficult for me, she says, and one of the most powerful emotions is anger. Moving from victim to survivor requires utilizing some techniques to release your feelings, and the page on anger gives you some concrete methods to use. So I want to definitely look at that. She says, feel free to check out the page on. She doesn't have that listed there. When it's overwhelming, it can be helpful to use some of the exercises I mentioned on the page. She didn't put the page there, but journaling also helps a great deal. So does talking to others in support groups. The method I describe on my page is a hands-on method that worked for me after everything else I tried just wasn't strong enough to release the amount of anger that I was carrying inside. And it is also important to engage in some type of therapy when moving from victim to survivor, such as art therapy. I used in my recovery, she used art therapy in her recovery. She says when utilizing art therapy, you don't have to paint. You can also make collages if you wish, which is also an easy thing to do. And that is just pasting pictures on a large piece of cardboard that reminds you of your abuse or anything that triggers something inside of you. And the key in art therapy is the process. The process itself is what moves you along. She says, as it says above in the logo, empower yourself, assert yourself, encourage yourself, redefine yourself, and most of all, believe in yourself. You can do it, but it requires action or movement on your part. And she goes on to talk about art therapy. She says you don't have to be an artist. It's just a process, and it doesn't matter what your painting looks like as far as if it's good or not. And there's no good or bad in art. It's just an expression of yourself, and that is all. So she says, to me, the most important parts of recovery are healing your inner child and how to forgive, mainly for yourself. It is a truly healing process, but does take action. That's what I'm working on right now, the inner child healing work. So that's why we're looking at this. Grieving your loss of innocence is also important. She says, why? She says, this is important in order for you to move on. Grieve your loss of innocence in childhood and embrace your inner child who was denied the childhood she deserved or he deserved. Moving from victim to survivor is just a choice, but a choice that requires you to take action. No matter how scary that might be. I know that many of you feel alone. I know that I did. Truly, you are not alone ever. And she says, number one, God is always with you. Number two, I am here. I am with you here on this site and by email. And number three, you have thousands of sisters in recovery that feel the same way or have felt the same way that you do right now. So she says, she goes on to talk about that. She says, it may be difficult to believe, but that's very true. And there's a whole lot more to this page. You can go ahead and read down there, but we'll get started on this again on Tuesday, and I want to we'll just move through on a few of the pages. Like I want to look at the, we'll take a look, but I do want to look at the inner child healing work, the abuse, anger, and how to forgive, and self-esteem, wounded healer, and whatnot. And also there's grieving and the intimacy ebook and the thief, substance abuse. There's a new forum on here. She's got like a forum. So this is great. What a great website. So thanks everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. I'll be back on Saturday morning talking about the inner child healing work that I've been doing, the actual process from John Bradshaw's book, Homecoming, Reclaiming and Healing Your Inner Child. I've actually that's actually a workbook. It doesn't look like it, but it really is. And I've been doing the actual exercises in there. And it's a great workbook. Like, I love it. And I'm going to share really what's sort of come about from doing the work in John Bradshaw's book, Homecoming, Reclaiming Your and Healing Your Inner Child. So we'll do that Saturday morning for an hour. So have a great couple of days, everybody. I might be on tomorrow night again. Child abuse prevention is up to us. I'm thinking about doing a show tomorrow night. And otherwise, we'll see you on Saturday morning. Have a great rest of your week and keep reaching out. Don't give up. Not ever. It's not an option. You know, reach out. If you have to, you phone the crisis line, but you do whatever you have to do to make sure that you stick around. You do not allow yourself to be destroyed by this, and you become the winner, you know? Like, we win this fight because we stay here and we get help and we allow ourselves to heal and have a good life, right? But it doesn't mean it doesn't take some work and that it isn't hard. So make sure you get some help with it, right? Whatever help that may be. Take good care of yourselves. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.